Welcome to Tales from the Backlog. This is our weekly Monday night, weekly starting now, I guess. We did two games last month, but then we took a break for the holidays. So starting now, our weekly tabletop RPG stream, wherein we try out a whole bunch of different games and don't review them. We just play them. We're not going to tell you if we like them or not.
You can guess.
You can guess by watching the show. This is your game, is to watch the show and try to judge by our facial expressions whether the game is good or not. Cool. So there's that. Tonight, as you can probably tell by the artwork in the empty box, Blades in the Dark is our show. And we are going to be doing this one we're planning 3 sessions for this game. Now it's a very improv-heavy game as designed. I believe that Cody has played it before. I know that Jason has owned the book for some time but never played before. And I have owned the book since Christmas and never played before. So, and then of course Sarah.
I co-owned the book.
Sarah, yes. Sarah has been grabbing the book off of my nightstand since Christmas and has never played before.
This is California. It's a communal property state. Everything, half of what he has is mine.
Right. Okay.
Hello, Alan, in chat.
Hello, Alan, a.k.a. Lasercat. So, we're going to do our best. Like I said, it's an improv-heavy game. I'm all right at that, so we'll see how it goes. Why don't we introduce our players?
Hello, I'm Sarah. I'm going to be playing Braid the Whisper.
I'm playing John Doe, also known as Buck the Cutter.
I'm Jason. I'm going to be playing Severin Hell. I'm a hound and a foppish mercenary.
Well,
And together, we are the Tide Wraiths.
That's right. That's right. This is a sort of post-apocalyptic, steampunkish, Victorian dark fantasy about crime syndicates.
Yes.
So there's a lot of genres there.
Ectoplasm punk.
It's a very cool setting.
Electroplasm punk.
Electroplasm punk, thank you. Everything has to have its own version of punk. It's often similar. Diesel punk is one. What are the other? There's some others. Magic punk. I've described the D&D Eberron setting as magic punk. Hey, this still says D&D on there. I should change that. Anyway.
Hey, quick question. How many dice do I need?
You need all D6s. You need about 4 of them probably, but just grab a handful.
Luckily, the dice are okay.
I always forget to change the stream info. I wish there was like a plugin. Maybe there is, and I just don't have it. I wish there was like a plugin that knew our stream schedule and would change the info for us.
All right. Sound like some black and red dice.
Tentacle punk? Why are you saying tentacle punk?
Cthulhu.
Cthulhu. Well, this is a little bit that. This is not totally unrelated to that. All right, I've pressed update information about 7 times. Hopefully it takes. It usually doesn't. Anyway, I guess we're all set. So without further ado, I will begin to set the scene. To start with, I'm going to take down our logo here. And we'll just have some nice moody Blades in the Dark artwork on the screen there, rotating a bit. I am also going to adjust this camera because that's crazy. There we go. Better. So, the place is Duskwall, also known as Duskwall, or simply the Dusk. It has been 1,000 years since the sun has risen. At that time, in days so long past that people scarcely believe the stories, the sun was destroyed when the gates of death were broken open. But now, 1,000 years later, everyone has learned to live with the gates of death being broken open. Ghosts and vampires and other such monstrosities are a simple fact of life in Duskwall. As is the ubiquitous presence of a substance called electroplasm. Electroplasm is the fuel of all society. It powers the lights in the streets. It powers the lightning barrier that keeps the majority of the most dangerous ghosts out of the city. And it powers many strange contraptions that roll or ride or stalk about the cobblestone streets of this dark, dark place. We open on a nondescript barge in the docks ward of Duskwall. And we will now meet some of our characters who make use of this barge. Starting with Braid, who of course lives here.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Would you mind describing yourself and what you are doing in your off hours at this moment?
Well, I am making myself as comfortable as one reasonably can. I've staked out my own little corner of this barge that I share with these two, and I have kind of built myself a little nest. I don't take a lot of room. I don't need a lot of room, just somewhere, defensible with no windows. Nobody can possibly accidentally walk by and see me, knows where I am. That's really what I look for in a home. So I'm presently cross-legged on the sort of small, neat stack of blankets that is my bed, paging through one of the few precious books that I have managed to take with me. A couple of them were gifted to me. Most of them I've sort of pilfered over the years, months, and I am just reading and tinkering around with some small little gadget, I think. I'm playing around with a little bit of electroplasm, I think, trying to... somebody I know told me there's a way to turn it into a weapon where you can kind of make basically like a Molotov cocktail with it. And so I'm trying to figure out how to make that happen, but in a small enough amount that I won't blow up our boat if I fail.
And at this point, your acquaintance and associate that you know as Buck does arrive at the barge. Buck, why don't you describe yourself? Tell us the manner of your entrance into the hideout.
So you see a very imposing creature, at least 7 foot tall and wider than most doors. You see a man with a charred arm with a huge scar all the way down his forearm with exposed stitching. His nose is broken and then stapled at the bridge back onto his face. And he has several scars along his head like this and a bald spot. I carry the bags as I march onto the barge, saying, "This is it. This is all we have to make it work." So I carry a plethora of bags and I drop them on our new boat.
All right. I think you may have just picked a fight, but we'll deal with that later.
I stick my head out of the cupboard, look at your clearly unmistakable form, and I say, "Buck, that's you, right?"
Yes,
Okay,
I think
just checking.
so.
And I duck back inside and slam the door.
Do you wish to continue speaking with Braid, or what happens now?
No, I definitely, there's no need to. I just take the bags and I go below deck. And I guess I find the equivalent of like the boiler room where there's leaking electroplasm all over the floor.
Yeah.
And I start to tape it up and clean it up and labor on the ship.
All right. So the labor that you are doing is something that many residents of Duskfall would consider perilous. But you're just used to it. You don't really care that much. It needs to be done. You're not going to go hire some fancy electroplasm expert to take care of it. So just do what you got to do.
I am a fancy electroplasm expert, thank you.
Yeah, but you're hiding in your room.
That's true.
So, what are you doing in your room now, by the way?
Still working on the same thing, but just keeping an ear out.
Okay.
And I feel a little bit better, I'd say. Even though I'm still in my room, it's nice to have somebody else on the ship that, as much as I trust anybody, Buck is one of the 2 people that I would say kind of trust.
All right.
3 people.
So you guys are hanging out on the ship, aka lair, hideout, for a little while. There's nothing really on your schedule for today. It's been some time since your last job, and you both are basically waiting for Severin Hell to arrive and tell you if he's managed to scrape up any gigs. At which point, at this point, that's exactly what he does.
Excellent, excellent. So, like, picture me strolling through the docks, dingy. This is not a well-lit part of town. And, I mean, this ain't a well-lit city, and the world isn't very well-lit. So it's, whatever. But I got color. Just very nicely. I mean, new clothes, just a nice, very pressed kilt, pressed brown material, burgundy shirt, just not super glowing, but it's got color. Nice boots, hunting boots, across my back, my precision rifle. I've got a large bag full of something, and I come strolling through the dockyards. I'm hairless, but I do have a shocking bit of plumage atop my head because of my assumed demonic heritage. So this figure, medium height, comes strolling through the dockyards up to our barge, enters into the barge, and everyone, I have brought food. And I lay out on what was in the sack is just it's not an overabundance, but it's an abundance of good food. Just hams and cake, like pastries, some vegetables, a bottle of wine, and I spread this out on the table on the floor again. Everyone, come up. We have food. Dinner is here.
I just want to clarify, in order to have any decent vegetables, you probably would have had to steal them from someone with a lot more money than you guys. Mostly what common folk eat is fish,
Mushrooms.
eels, various types of shrooms.
Well, they're very nice. They're very well cut and grilled eels.
There you go. Yeah. So, you guys may greet one another.
Yes, I come out, take this in, and I would, please tell me you stole this.
What, you think I paid for it?
I'm afraid that you did.
Well, that's my money, so don't worry about it.
It says right here, Blue Coats Reserve.
And what a meal they had planned.
Yeah, I walk over to like a stale piece of bread, and that's all I take.
I shake my head, but I grab a pretty decent-sized plate for myself. And I also make a second place, and I hand it to Buck. He's like, might as well eat it. If we get caught, you're going down for it too.
So,
sorry.
no, you go ahead.
I take the plate and I walk it to Braid's room and I put it on the floor and I go back down into the boiler just with my single loaf of bread.
Okay.
I think we both just kind of watch him go. So.
Well, as Buck is leaving the room, I will inform Severin Hell of what he has learned while he's been out about the city today. You guys have a good relationship with a cult of one of the old gods called the Followers of the Silent Song. And in your seeking of work, you have made known to them that you are willing to take jobs in your canal-bound boat, transporting goods for whoever needs it done. Something of great, possibly great import has come across your metaphorical desk, which is that the group known as the Dimmer Sisters requires a pickup and delivery in the utmost secrecy. The Dimmer Sisters, of course, are a well-known and yet very mysterious group of occult practicing women who all live in a manor in the Six Towers district and basically never leave, with the exception of a servant now and then. They have requested a crew such as yourselves to pick up a package that is going to be transported inside the lightning barriers from outside by another group of smugglers known as the Foghounds. You are to meet the Foghounds, receive the package from them, and then transport it through the city to the subterranean canals beneath the Dimmer Sisters' manor. If the package is delivered in good order, there will be 3 coin in it for your group.
That doesn't sound bad.
This is Severin.
I mean, how hard could it be?
Severin, you convey that to us then?
Yes.
Okay. Like, well, it's probably going to be 3 coin. Hard. I am more concerned about what they are not telling us, I have to say. That's a lot of coin for what sounds like, on the surface, a very simple job. I mean, we should definitely take it. I'm just saying. It'll be very exciting to see at what point somebody tries to, I don't know, steal it, betray us, set us up as patsies. What else could happen? And I start, I pull out my little notebook and I start making a list to myself of, every possible way this could go wrong.
So when do we meet with them?
Oh, Buck, you're back. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly like that.
You move so quietly for such a large man. Yeah, when do we meet with them?
You do not currently have a meeting scheduled with the Dimmer Sisters, if that's what you mean. The job is being, if you accept it, it is being assigned to you through your contact at the Followers of the Silent Song. And you will not interact with anyone from the Dimmer Sisters until you make delivery.
Well, the Silent Song's been good to us.
So
yeah.
Where do we meet the Foghounds?
Let's pull up the map. So, hopefully you guys can see this. The Foghounds will be meeting you in the little island, well, not little, but the island that is marked Silkshore, on the sort of western edge of the city. And you will have to transport the goods over to a certain subterranean canal under 6 towers. So in order to reach that canal, you will have to be all the way out in that wide canal on the east of the city, right between 6 towers and the lightning barrier. And then from there, you will be able to navigate into the tunnel that will take you under the manor.
Okay.
All right.
So if you want to accept the job, we can, a time will be set for a meeting with the Foghounds. Would anyone like to do any preparation, such as gathering information before going off on this score?
Yeah, is this reasonable to try and find out who is the strongest physically person among the Foghounds?
Oh, yes. There is a direct answer to that question, and I didn't write it down. Let me find it for you. Ah, here it is. Wrong page. Well, his name is Bear. He is the second in command of their crew. He is known to be short of temper and a little bit wild. When he is not enraged and fighting, he's usually brooding.
Have you ever seen a buck and a bear fight? It doesn't end well for the buck.
Yeah, you Buck would definitely know of Bear by reputation, just because of your interests in violence in general. However, you've not ever met him before.
I would like to know if I know anybody who has worked with or for the Dimmer sisters before, and kind of what their reputation is.
You do not personally, well, nobody that you've talked to about it has worked directly for them. However, they do have a well-known reputation as being sort of investigators, experimenters of the arcane and the weird. There are a lot of rumors about what does or doesn't really go on inside their manor. There are a lot of what's known as hulls, which are basically machines, Sparkcraft machines animated by electroplasmic entities that have been seen stalking around the manor grounds. As I said, it's known that everyone in the manor is female. It's not known how many of them there are. It is also not known if they are the same ones who were there 100 years ago or not. There's no concrete information about their membership, their recruitment. Some say they're vampires. Others say they are just very strange people. But they definitely want to consolidate power over the market in terms of spirits and spirit essences within the city.
Interesting.
Yeah, what they're doing with it all, no one knows.
Interesting. I have to say, gentlemen, I wouldn't mind getting a look inside the Dimmer sisters' manor. I am very curious what they are up to, and every little bit of information would be intriguing.
Yeah. I bet they know what caused this.
You know what? They might. You're right, Buck. All the more reason to start building up some goodwill. If we're going to take this anywhere, we're going to need to start, building up some real goodwill with, not just with, the Silent Song, but with, Foghounds, Dimmer Sisters. Gotta move up in the world.
Okay.
Can I
Yes, sir?
ask one of my dangerous friends something specifically about Bear?
You may. Which dangerous friend would you like to approach?
Marlene, a pugilist.
Okay, so you catch Marlene after one of her fights. You have to find her in the basement of a seedy inn, and you have just watched her pound the living tar out of another fighter who would not go down for 10 straight rounds, but also could not get in a decent punch to save her life. Marlene finally turned this other poor woman into a lump of meat on the mat and is now pounding down some beverages over at the bar when you find her. So what would you like to ask her?
Nice fight. You think you could take the bear?
The bear! Maybe.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What about on the streets? What would you use to get an upper hand?
If I was fighting the bear on the streets, I'd already have the upper hand. They say the bear never comes off of the Foghound's boat. They have this big steamer ship It's called the Foghound. And he's been second mate on that ship for years. No one's ever seen him leave it. I imagine if he stepped off, he'd be off balance. He's had his sea legs under him for too long.
Should be easy then, huh?
Well, if you can get him off his boat. Why are you trying to fight the bear?
Not trying to fight anybody.
Ha! Yeah, right.
Just trying to make some money.
You
like
want
honest folk.
You want to make some money? Come back here.
Nah, they kicked me out after what happened last time.
Well, I might be able to put in a good word. Nobody really liked that guy anyway.
Well, we'll see if I'm looking for work anytime soon. I might be back.
Right. Good seeing you, Buck.
See you, Marlene. Or, is that how you say that?
Sure.
Marlene? Yeah, okay.
We're saying it how you say it, bud.
Jason, do you want to take an action? I have another thing, but I don't want to take your turn if you...
Yeah, do you have anything to do here, Jason? I mean, Severin Hell?
No, I mean, I think we should, I think it's a good job. I think we should take it, and I'm just working on some idea of a decent route we could take.
Okay. What were you going to do? And then I'll come back to Severin because the route is the next question I was going to ask.
That was actually the next thing I was going to do. I was going to ask if I could use study or survey towards figuring out what the best route would be in terms of time of day and avoiding blue coats, avoiding patrols. And I believe, if I'm remembering right, the lore of the city is that you should try to be off the water by midnight. Unless only the gondoliers are really safe after midnight.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and roll it? What were you going to use for it?
Can I use study since I'm
Yes.
digging into all my books and maps and things?
Absolutely.
So I rolled 2 dice, right?
For clarification, you don't have to ask me if you can use study. The distribution of authority in this game is a little different than D&D. You guys are the final arbiters of what skills or ability rating, action ratings they're called in this game, but they're basically skills, that you use for each thing. So my job is just to tell you what happens. So your position on this is going to be controlled. It's something that's going to be very easy. And yeah, controlled standard.
Okay. 2 dice. That's a 2 and a 5.
So that's
So
a
I
5 for
take
you.
The 5, yes.
Yep. And let's see. I'm just checking out.
So I
it's a partial
scuttle back to
success.
my room and I'm going over. I've got like, in just a few minutes, I've got like a wall of weird put together where I've got like maps pinned up and notes that I've figuring out routes.
All right, and before we get to my response on that question, let's hear what Severin Hill has been planning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've got cargo, so we've got our local smuggling barge, not our home base barge, but our barge for moving goods.
Sure.
And honestly, just looking at it, they want us to come in, and we're coming from Silk Shore, going around, and we want to hit the outer edge of Six Towers there.
Yeah. That's correct.
Yeah, I mean, we could cut around Crow's Foot, head straight shot down, cut just top of Coleridge and Night Market, and come right around.
Okay, so
Yeah. That's the question, though. Do we take the main canals, or do we try to like cut through all the little side canals and go stealthy?
So here's what you guys will know. Going through the side canals, the sort of smaller canal that you can see on the map just south of Crow's Foot, any time of dawn or dusk, there's not really day or night, but there is dawn and dusk. Any time that you go through that little canal, it's going to be crowded. So crowded that it might make it easy to blend in. And so crowded that any pursuit would have a hard time, so crowded that no one tracking you would be able to tell where you had come from by the time you were halfway through. So that's an option. However, the same is true of the wider main canals that sort of surround the city. They are full of traffic from larger ships. Being a smaller ship, you might be easier to notice out amongst them. There's definitely more space out there, but again, there is a lot of traffic, so you could...
But we might fight better out there, too.
You might fight better out there. You also, distance notwithstanding, might be moving faster out there.
Yeah.
Yes. It's highways versus surface streets.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Only the highways are primarily trucks.
That's right.
Big trucks. Boats.
So, what route are you guys going to choose? Is what I'm asking you. Your role was solid, so you're going. We're not going to get into the nitty gritty of every little twist and turn, but I'm going to say whether you go main canals, whether you go highways or streets, as you put it, the level of challenge that you run into is going to be consistent with that role. So why don't you tell me what you'd like to do?
I suggest... Oh, do you want to call it, Severin?
Well, Buck, what do you think?
Well, I actually wanted to ask Steve, since this is the first time we're doing this type of show, are we here to talk about like game mechanics at all? Because we had our first engagement roll, and I don't know if you wanted to explain that at all.
That actually wasn't an engagement roll. That was an action roll. If I did that incorrectly, feel free to let me know, because this is my first time in this game.
Well, it's mainly I think you're right. It's called action roll, but there's the terms of engagement, whether it's like safe, risky, or like whether it's a safe condition, and then if the difficulty and how that.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. I would like to explain that actually. So yeah, as I mentioned, the players get to determine what the action rating is that they're going to use. Which one did you use? Remind me.
I went with my study.
Study. So basically, if you know D&D like I do real well, then that would be kind of like a skill from a D&D sheet. But you guys get to decide what it is, and then I set your position. Positions are controlled, risky, or desperate. And they basically... it tells you what kind of effect you're going to get and how difficult it is for you to do this kind of thing. Because you were safe in your lair reading books about something you guys would have knowledge of, I decided that was a controlled position. And then the effect is going to determine what type of how much effect your roll is going to have. So that could be great, standard, limited, or zero, which means no effect. I said standard because you're literally just picking a route. You have no idea what's going to happen. You can't see the future, but you do know the city. So same as anyone else. So that's standard. So that's why I did that. Was that what you were asking about, Cody?
Yes, perfect.
Great. Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. I do like to explain that stuff, but I've been so busy trying to learn it myself that I didn't think to explain it. Cool.
We're here for each other.
Yeah, appreciate that. Okay, so did we choose the routes?
We did not.
Well,
So you asked me.
Wired with Buck if Buck had an opinion.
There you go. That's right.
We take the most direct route, of course.
There isn't really a direct route.
Yeah, you've got a city between origin and destination, so.
Yeah.
If we could cut through 6 towers up there, it'd be a little more direct. But even if we take north of Crow's Foot, north of Charter Hall, north of 6 towers, we still got to go up and around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if we walked halfway through?
You gonna walk this barge?
Walk whatever we're carrying.
Do we know?
You do not know what the package is. You have been assured that it is not weapons or people.
Yeah. I was gonna. We don't.
You do not even know the size or shape of the package. You do have a pretty good idea that A, you shouldn't ask because people don't do that kind of thing, and B, if it was something strictly legal or above board, they wouldn't have asked you.
Well,
Yeah, I say I'll chime in and say I like where Buck's head is at on this one. I think I think going through the surface streets, the backwaters. So if we need to, we can split up. Somebody stays on the barge and somebody hops off and goes on foot. I think that's a good idea, especially if we're walking into something where we don't, we're dealing with 2 people, the drop off and the pickup. We've never worked with them before. Having a backup plan like that, I think, is a great idea. It won't be what they expect.
thank you.
That makes sense.
You're welcome, Buck.
Never give them what they expect.
Never give them what they expect. Just the sort of daring move that the Tide Wraiths like to pull off.
So, as Sarah pointed out to me yesterday, I believe, there is actually another gang in the city known as the Wraiths. You guys have, on occasion, been mixed up with them by people who know who they are and do not know who you are.
We don't have negative points with the Wraiths. So,
No, they don't know who you are.
They don't know about us yet. We're doing okay.
So, do you guys want to move forward with the score, or do you want to do any more information gathering?
We should move forward with the score, and we can always flash back for more information later.
Absolutely.
I think so. I think we're ready to go. Cut to the action.
Yeah, that's a core principle of this game as well. It's all over the book. Cut to the action. But before we cut to the action, we will need an engagement roll.
All right.
And this is something the book was ambiguous about, whether I do it or one of you does it. I would like one of you to do it. So who's going to do the engagement roll?
Severin,
Yep.
Sure.
it's your
Like
job.
to roll in 1 die?
I think it's a basic roll. So, okay, it's a fortune roll, so start with 1d for sheer luck, modify for any advantages or disadvantages. You did decide to go side streets, right?
Side canals.
As we're calling them, side canals.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this is an unmodified roll. So go ahead and roll 1.
Can we assist?
No.
All right.
2.
Ah!
So noted.
That's-
Well,
You're
It's okay. We'll get them next time.
you guys depart from your barge on your smaller smuggler boat.
No.
Severin, Hell, would you mind describing your work boat?
It's small, not too small, kind of flat. It's got basically a tent over half of it. It's not high. Doesn't have high sides. I mean, it looks kind of junky.
All right.
But not like garbage, like a really small junk.
Out of curiosity, what color is the tent or tarp that's over half of it?
Green.
Dark green. with some brown camouflaging.
Green to match the ever-present pale green glow of the lightning towers over Duskfall.
You threw some fish nets over the top, like they're drying, but it helps break up the shape, break up the color.
And as professional smugglers, do you have any sort of hold or secret place on the boat where you put things that are not meant for prying eyes? Or do you just put them under the tent?
No.
Generally, everything goes under the tent, but I like to keep around extra goods, like nothing that's really much of anything, but it's stuff that can we can camouflage over whatever we're smuggling.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I would like to add to that I do keep a couple small cubby holes towards the front of the boat. If the tents are in the back, I have a couple small places in the front of the boat that won't hold anything big, but like if we're moving some small items, I've managed to hollow out a couple places under like false backs to the cabinets in the front of the boat that can fit maybe something the size of like a shopping bag.
Okay.
So for
Two of them. Yeah.
Buck is convinced, or no one has ever asked Buck to turn out his pockets, ever in his life.
Imagine.
You have pockets?
Yeah.
That's the first time anyone's ever asked Buck that. So you guys, since you are not yet technically smuggling, you easily make it over to Silk Shore without anyone causing trouble. It is kind of a busy day on the waterways. For whatever reason, there's a lot of people out. You come at Silk Shore from the main river and passing through the smaller and smaller canals, you are able to reach the appointed rendezvous location, at which time you see approaching out of the fog the Foghound. It is a large steam-powered ship, at least 3 times the size of your little boat, and it pulls up next to you basically on the other side of the dock from where you guys are docked. And the location that has been chosen, you're not sure if the Foghounds chose it, or if the Dimmer Sisters chose it, or if the Silent Song chose it, but it was chosen and given to you. This location is strangely deserted. You are adjacent to some buildings, but there are no windows facing your location. There could easily be people here, but there aren't. It's almost as though the place has been somehow cleared out or reserved in advance. And at this point, a woman steps off of the Foghound. You have been told in advance that this will be Rosalind. She is their leader. She is dark of hair. You can see that it is naturally very curly and wild, but tied back out of her face. she is wearing a long coat with a cloak over it, both black, and underneath wearing dark colors, dark black, or dark blue and black. Basically, someone whose whole look seems to be designed to blend into the night, even from birth. So she comes down the ramp and calls across to you. Tide Wraiths, is that you?
This would be the infamous Foghound?
She turns, sort of half turns without taking her eyes off you, and gestures at the side of the boat where there is a picture of a hound made out of fog painted on it.
Question. One thing we did forget to do: pick load.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, let's do that now. Loadout. You guys need to pick your loadout.
So, as opposed to picking, and this is for the audience, as opposed to picking standard gear, you pick a loadout of normal, light, and heavy, which gives you a value to bring whatever you can conceivably think of.
Yes. And Teak the Gamer says get her. So can we run through real quick what are the pros and cons of taking a heavier versus a lighter load? Obviously, a heavy load will be very obvious that you're carrying way more stuff than a normal person would have. It might also slow you down.
But you have stuff.
But you have some stuff, yeah. That's really all I know. Like, that's not really a part I studied a lot. So if there's more than that you guys are aware of in terms of pros and cons, let me know.
I mean, yeah, just like level of like how suspicious you look, you know.
Yeah.
And the point value, right? I'm specifically playing a mule, so that let's say I take a normal load, which is 7, when a standard character's normal load is only 5. And for each playbook, you have a stock set of obscurely described items, whether it's a large weapon, armor with various ratings, climbing gear, like demolition tools. So I don't have to pick these things now. I can either flashback and use them, or I can pull them out on demand as the situation evolves.
Yeah, and that's what's great about that system is that you just say how much stuff you're carrying, but you specify it as needed later on. Mm-hmm. So let's go through. What kind of loadout are you going with, Buck?
So I'm taking a normal loadout.
Okay.
So I definitely look like a somewhat up to no good is how it's described in the book. I'm up to something, but who knows what. I could be ready for anything.
All right.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Do you want to know the number value, Steve? Or
sure. I won't remember it, but go ahead.
All right, 7 for the mule.
Okay.
So. Oh, nice.
And yours?
Yeah, I'm taking a normal loadout as well, since we're in the middle of a job. And blending in with the crowd is not going to be a high priority for me, I don't believe. So I'm taking my normal loadout is 5.
Okay. And Severin Hell, what about your loadout?
Yeah, I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna stick with the normal loadout as well. Obviously, keeping my rifle with me, and everything else will kind of come up as it comes up.
Okay, and what is your number value?
It's 5.
And you've already used up how much because of your rifle?
2.
2, so 3 remaining. Okay, no problem. So we were in the middle of a conversation with Rosalind of the Foghounds, and you do see stepping out of the cabin on the boat behind her a very large, very hairy four-armed individual with his sleeves rolled up to his elbows, strangely like well dressed. Like he doesn't have nice clothes, but they look suspiciously brand new, like he just bought them, and they're like very well pressed. But yeah, his forearms are like tree trunks, and he's covered in hair. Like he's got a full beard, very thick eyebrows, hair all over his forearms, even on the backs of his hands and his knuckles. And he just kind of crosses his arms like this to make sure that his forearms musculature is fully on display, and then just kind of stares at you while you discuss things with Roz.
Yeah. I'm going to step up into a sort of my normal spot for these encounters, which is right about a step behind Severin and to his right. And can I attune to the local field? I'm just looking for any sort of I'm looking for any kind of information. I'm looking for a trap or an ambush or anything like that incoming from by. Let me think. How do I want to do this? I'm just going to sort of tune into the ghost field and see if there's anything there that would give me a hint if there's any sort of trouble coming.
Okay. Because you don't have any reason to believe there's any supernatural hanky-panky in this area, I would call this a desperate roll.
Okay.
Because you're literally trying to just pull. Hey, Canuck, you're literally just trying to pull something out of your ass. Mm-hmm. However, if you're right, it's going to have great effect.
Okay.
Because again, there's no reason that you could know if there was anything supernatural happening here. So if you did suddenly know, it might be a huge advantage. So for that reason, desperate great is going to be your position and effect.
Okay. Alrighty. So I'm going to go ahead and sort of carefully open
Do you have 2 in that?
Yeah, I do have 2.
Okay.
So if I have 2 dots, I roll 2 dice, right, Cody?
If you
that's the one thing I'm not good at about this game.
I think if you have 2 dots, you roll 3 dice.
If the dots in your actions equal the amount of dice you're using, base dice you're using for that action.
Okay. I wasn't sure if you get bonuses because I don't have any dots in sway. So if I try to sway roll, I would just roll.
So if you're trying an action that you do not have any dots in, you're always rolling at least 1 die, and if you don't have that action, you're rolling 2 dice, keeping the lower.
Okay. All right, makes sense to me. All right, I'm going to go ahead then and roll.
Wait, I have a clarification question before the roll. Rolling, if she has 1, she only rolls 1 die?
Yeah, and takes it raw.
Yep.
All right.
Okay, I think I misunderstood that. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. All right. Fingers crossed. Not great. 2 and a 3.
2 and a 3. Okay. So on a 3, you are going to suffer a serious complication.
Oh. Okay.
And that complication is you open yourself up to the ghost field at just the lowest level that you possibly can. And even as you're in the process of doing it, even as it crosses your mind to sort of extend your senses and try and feel around in the ghost field, even the very thought of doing it brings along with it kind of a pressure on your brain, like a static in your mind. And before you really have the presence of mind to back off, you have fully opened yourself to experiencing the electroplasmic energy of the area. And you are struck with an overwhelming sense of sheer terror. And we are going to call this minor harm.
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
Okay.
So
brutal.
you are going to put terrified in your box, your lowest level box there.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, right there.
1. Okay.
Yeah, just write terrified because it's going to affect your abilities in situations where that matters.
Okay.
Yes, Severin Hill.
I just wanted, this is for Sarah real quick. You marked XP in that attribute, right?
Yeah, you get XP anytime you roll desperate.
Okay. Alrighty. Where does one mark XP?
They're next to... Let me
Oh.
just point to it. These little white boxes.
Oh, okay. Got
Just
it.
fill one in the appropriate place.
Alrighty.
Say hi to everyone.
What is your familiar's name?
This is Sage.
Hello, Sage.
So I have a question for you really quickly, and actually this might be for Cody as well. So if I want to resist this, I understand I can make a roll to resist.
You can make a roll to resist. It will
By
reduce the
costing these-
consequences, and you will take stress for it.
How much stress?
And
Oh, sorry.
depends on the. I think that depends on the roll and outcome, and the severity of the harm.
Well, it was minor harm, so
Situation.
or lesser harm, I guess.
So I understand that it succeeds.
I don't have
it automatically
resistance rolls
succeeds
on
if
my
I
little
resist,
things that
but the question is just how much stress does it cost me? Because
Right,
I have
yeah.
to roll.
Yeah, I don't have resistance rolls on my little printouts here, so let me check the book
So-
real quick.
Steve,
Yes, sir?
do you have the simple rules overview?
I don't have that here, no.
Okay, then give me a second. I'm going to try and get you a page reference.
Have the book here, table
Yeah.
of contents. I had resistance rolls, and I don't think. Oh yeah, I have a bookmark in it. Okay, so, except for 6 stress, blah 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 blah. Okay, so by default, you suffer 6 stress when you resist, but you roll, and however much you roll is how much the stress is reduced by.
Oh, wow.
So, you roll using one of your character's attributes, insight, prowess, or resolve. I would think... I think this is going to be resolve, because this is mental strain.
Okay.
So what...
Okay.
Can I see your sheet for a second so I know
Yeah,
what
sure.
I'm talking about a little
I
bit?
did figure out how do you figure out your insight, prowess, and resolve things. It's how many dots you have in the first column.
Okay, so you're going to roll 3 dice then, yeah?
Okay.
Or is it...
You said resolve. That's 2 dice. For
2
me.
dice, okay.
That's 2. All right. So.
All right, so let me
I can-
read this. So yeah, roll 2 dice, and we will subtract the highest dice from 6,
Cool.
and
okay.
that will be how much stress you
Okay.
take.
All right. I thought that it was going to be, yeah. I thought it was like roll 2 dice, and if both of them get above 4, then you can take that many off. But
No.
no. Okay.
Whatever the
I'll take
highest
it.
one is.
I'll resist. Yeah. 3. 2 3s.
Okay, so you take 3 stress. Hello, Yeti Hill 99. Your lateness is noted. You take 3 stress, and you do not suffer the harm.
Okay.
There's
Cool.
no real way to reduce that level of harm to a lesser level, so you just don't take it. But you're stressed. You're really stressed.
Yep. I took 3 stress instead of harm, so I'll
All
trade
right.
that off.
Yeah.
I was like,
One big misnomer about the stress system is you are supposed to be using it a lot.
Yeah.
So
It's a resource that
Yeah.
you have to use, yeah.
Yeah, it's not just HP where you want to hold on to it at all. You want to trade it up and down, right?
Yep, that's correct. So, good call, choosing to resist that.
Okay.
You are no longer suffering harm.
Yeah, and so you just see Braid kind of go a little glassy-eyed for a second, and kind of clench her fist, but like, that wasn't fun.
Now that does not go unnoticed, by the way. Your contacts here, Rosalind and Bear, both look over at you when you react like that.
Yeah.
And Bear kind of sneers a little bit and opens his mouth for the first time and says, I told you, Captain, these fake wraiths, they're amateurs. No one knows who they are. We should take this package ourselves.
You're
Seven,
right.
unless you want to do something.
No one knows who we are. So no one's going to know where we are. No one's going to know where we're going. No one's going to give two rats' poops about us. And we're going to take your cargo, and we're going to get it through.
And at that point, I want to call a flashback.
Go ahead.
Yes.
So,
Flashback.
when we met with the informant, right, that actually when we accepted the job,
Yes.
I'm going to ask for two things. I'm going to ask for the payment for the object that we are giving the fog wraiths, and the call sign that reminds, like, this is the job that we're doing.
So you're going to ask them for a call sign to make sure they know it's you? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, or like more to like prove that we're legitimate, right? Like a call sign they establish, like, yeah, they're gonna approach you and give you this, and
Okay.
this is this payment for
And
the item.
so you want to be the one who delivers the fog hounds their payment for the job, is what you're saying?
Yeah, that way they can be hands-free.
Okay.
After that.
So, yeah, you are in possession of 5 coin belonging to the fog hounds.
Cool. Do I take
It's in a
stress
big
for that?
chest. Do you take stress for flashing back?
It depends on the flashback.
This flashback system is actually one I completely forgot to read up about. It's
Sorry,
not
ignore the
like it's
cat.
not even in the table of contents. Cool. So, what do you know about it?
I'm pretty sure there's an engagement roll based off of whatever skill I use, and then
So, page 132.
Thank you, sir.
see, Severn Hell knows just the page reference. I just got a rough idea of everything.
If I could remember it all better, that'd be even better.
I'm going to call this 1 stress. It's fairly complex, but it's not super elaborate and special. Like, it is a little bit unusual for, like, one hireling, like one contractor to be paying out a different contractor. Like that's not normal. Normally they'd get their pay from their client, not from the other contractor. But the reason for your request was understood. So I'm going to call this 1 stress.
Cool. Severn.
And by the
Yes.
way, 5 coin is a lot. It's in a lockbox on your boat. Like, you have to get the box out and give it to them.
Yeah. So now we flip the tarp, and I pop the lid. I'm like, well, as much as we may be amateurs, are we here to do a deal? And I give them the call sign from your employer.
So the call sign is just a complex hand signal that you were taught. And Rosalind looks down at the money, then turns to Bear and says, "Bring it out He grunts, goes back inside the cabin. You hear him stomping below decks. The next thing you know, a pair of large trapdoors swing open, 1, 2, on the deck of the Foghound. And Bear, along with 2 other men, comes stomping up some steps. Bear's walking backwards, carrying a large object the size of a coffin. It's a box of planks, nailed shut on every dimension, and not just any coffin, like a large coffin, like Buck's coffin would have to be.
Jesus.
Nice.
And they bring it down the ramp, and they don't like wait for you to get out of the way. Like Buck seems to be deliberately trying to run you both over as they bring it onto the deck, and then just set it down unceremoniously on the deck. They do not carry it onto your boat for you. But then Buck reaches down and picks up the lockbox of money by himself.
Here.
Yeah, or Bear. Yeah, Bear reaches down, picks up the lockbox of money by himself, carries it back onto the Foghound, and without a word, Roz walks up the ramp and retracts it. But just before they embark back to wherever it is they're going, Roz yells to you, "Take my advice. Deliver it quick. Don't open it." And then they're gone.
I push off.
Very quick. Don't
right?
open it.
You all talked at once, and I didn't understand any of
Sorry.
you.
Cargo is on the barge, yes?
No, the cargo is still sitting on the dock where Bear left it.
Oh, on the dock. Okay. I thought you said on the deck, like our deck.
Oh,
Okay.
No, he did. He refused to carry it onto your boat for you. He doesn't like you and isn't going to help.
So,
Yes. My contribution was Braid saying, "Take my advice, so be fast."
I mean, that flashback avoided the fight that you would have had because of the crappy engagement roll earlier.
Yeah.
The engagement roll was the result of that engagement roll was these guys are going to fight you for the opportunity to deliver it and earn that other 3 coin. But because of Buck's incredible foresight to actually have their payment with him, you avoided that.
Nice.
So, because I'm a mule, I could obviously pick this up by myself.
Incorrect. You will need help from at least one of your friends.
Whack.
But you are taking most of the weight easily.
Yeah, no, this thing looks huge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not
So-
the weight as much as the size. Like, you just
Yeah.
need someone on the other end.
So
I
you
will
had such
move.
a great plan to get them to give this to us, so I'm going to let you carry most of it. I'll help with the rest.
All right.
Braid is moving because she feels really bad about that. And she's not gonna say anything, but she's gonna walk to like the small end, unless you tell her to stop or just push her.
There isn't really a small end. It's the size of a coffin, but it's not. It doesn't have that
Oh,
shape.
it doesn't have the coffin shape.
It's just a rectangle. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's more of a casket?
Sure. Yes. But that's the size that it is and length, but it doesn't have any particular, like it might be building materials. You don't know.
Before Buck pick. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was gonna say before these guys, Buck picks it up, and I let Severin kind of shoulder me out of the way because I know he's going to. But at least I made the offer.
Yeah.
I want to study it.
Okay.
And
What are you attempting to learn?
I am looking for. You said it just looks like a normal wooden plate.
Yeah, it's like a
box,
wooden
yeah?
crate, basically. Yeah.
Okay. I wonder if I should do an attune or a study, because I just want to know, like, you just get a sense, like, how dangerous is this thing?
Well, you've already done an attune.
Yeah. So, all right. And was that a tune that like ended in such a failure? There's no way to know if that came from this box, right? It was just sort of the general.
Yeah, you did not have time to get specific about where your mental trauma was coming from.
Yeah.
It was, well, not trauma. Trauma's a mechanic in this game. Where your mental anguish was coming from. Basically, as soon as you opened yourself up to the ghost field around here,
Yeah.
You found that you could not sustain it.
Alrighty. Well, then I'm just gonna do a study on the box.
Okay.
Cats.
I'm going to say that is...
It's probably controlled at this point.
I mean, yeah, it's controlled limited.
Okay.
Going to have limited effect because it is just a wooden box, you know?
Yeah. Just studying it for any clues or hints.
Okay, go ahead and roll.
Traces of electroplasm. Hairs of an animal or person.
Yeah.
They're stuck to the outside. Oh, 2 5s. So.
All right. So, yeah, that's a decent success. You, in examining this box, you have gone to one side. Buck has already lifted his end, and while you are pretending to offer to help carry it, you do get a feel for how heavy it is. It is heavier than it would be if Buck was in it. It is significantly heavier. Whatever is in here, it's not a person. It's not a dead body, or at least it's not just that. It's something heavier. You do, in fact, see electroplasmic residue in some of the crevices between the planks. What was the other thing you asked about? Hair?
Yeah.
There's no hair. Well, that's not true. There's little hairs from, you believe, bears' forearms stuck on some of the planks. But there is a spot near the joint of the long side to the end where it looks like one of the planks has been stressed as though someone were trying to break it apart. And if you didn't know any better, you'd say it looks like it was stressed from the inside.
I was just about to ask you, from the inside or the outside?
Inside, but you don't know. Maybe someone had some sort of prying device and went under the plank, and that's why it looks like that. You can't say for sure.
Yeah.
That's all you get.
All right. I'll mention that to the other guys. When you say electroplasm residue in the cracks, is that from the inside or like seeping from within the box?
There is no way to know.
Okay.
The planks are pretty tightly pressed together in the seams, so your first assumption is that someone spilled something on it, but there's no way to know.
Okay.
You're not doing a full CSI thing on the box. You don't know.
CSI, Duskfall. All right. I'm going to change this game entirely. We're now a CSI unit.
We can do this as the Bluecoats next time. It's fine.
In the words of Stone,
Yes.
no cops.
Well, I'm going to convey that info to the guys, and I'm also going to point to the end with the broken plank or the stressed plank
Yeah.
and say, let's be sure this side is against a wall of the boat.
All right.
And then I'll step back and let them pick it up.
All right. So you guys easily get the package onto the boat. Well, not easily, but without incident. Get the package onto the boat. It. Hold on a second.
Excuse me. Sorry. Need more coffee.
And you set off,
Okay.
following the plan that you determined earlier, heading towards 6 Towers. While you are still over here in Silkshore, sort of navigating the narrow canals back to the main areas, Braid, you hear a noise.
Does it sound like a cat?
Yeah, actually, it does. The noise is kind of like a thumping. You're pretty sure it came from the crate.
Nobody ever believes us when we say no people.
Where are we keeping this crate right now?
Well,
If I can make oh, sorry, go ahead.
I mean, I'm assuming we've got it probably not entirely under the tent, but kind of sticking out a little bit because it's kind of long.
I mean, my mental image of your boat was that it was big enough to have the whole thing under the tent.
Yeah, I thought so as well.
No, I'm down with that then.
Yeah.
Can I command? Oh,
nope, you go.
I would like to command whatever is in the crate.
Okay.
Be quiet.
You're just gonna say that?
Yeah.
You're not just going to kind of boot the crate a little bit for emphasis?
Just a very, resound. Be quiet.
I'm not gonna make you roll for this because it just has no effect. Nothing happens.
All right.
However, a few moments later, you hear an even louder thumping. And all of you feel a sort of prickle along your skin as the hair on your arm starts to stand up. And the hair from Bear's arms that's stuck in the crate also stands up. And the thumping gets really loud and then stops for a moment, and you all hear, not with your ears, but in your minds, the words, "Release me." And we're going to go take our break.
Yeah.
We'll be back in 15 minutes after we use the restroom and so forth, and come back to see what you guys do about that. Thank you, everyone, for playing. Thank you for watching. 10 minutes. It's about 9:58, so we'll be back around 10:10. We'll see you then. All right, we are back. We have had our snacks and our leg stretches and whatever else we may have done.
Fed the cat.
Fed the cats, the various cats that exist. And now we are back on the boat. By the way, I don't think I ever asked. If I did, I have forgotten. What is the name of your vessel?
Our home base or our smuggling barge?
The one you are currently upon, your smuggling barge.
Are y'all okay with kind of a terrible name?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, here's the thing. I think we established in the pregame that this boat belonged to Severin Hell before the crew existed, so you go ahead and name it.
Braid would not give a boat a name, so you go ahead. She's going to go.
Dandy Gent.
Yep. The Dandy Gent. All right.
Dandy Gent.
Braid never refers to it by that name. She exclusively refers to it as the boat.
All right.
Boat. Little boat.
Yep, big boat, little boat. So you are upon the Dandy Gent, taking your package to 6 Towers, where you hope to deliver it and earn your 3 coin However, the package is making noises and has now spoken in your minds with something that all of you will assume must be some sort of ghost field manipulation. And it has said to you, "Release me."
Buck, rummaging through his bags, going to produce a Spirit Bane charm.
Okay.
I assume it's like just a weird like whale tooth, like on a necklace. I pull it out of my pocket and I set it on the coffin and see how it responds. I'm going to attune to it, I guess, in this sense.
Okay.
Really quickly, if it's okay, before you resolve it, as soon as I see Buck do that, I'm going to take out from under my blouse a Demon Bane charm that I am wearing.
Oh, that's cool.
And put it down next, and put it on the other side of the box.
So Spirit Bane charm from Buck and Demon Bane charm from Braid?
Yes.
Okay, so Buck, when you place your charm on the on top of the box, you hear again. It hasn't been constant. It hasn't just been thumping this whole time. But when you place the charm on there, you hear it now violently thumping, like you might imagine like someone ran up and yelled "boo" behind you, and you jump, but you're in a box and you hit the sides. Like that's what this sounds like. Just like, and then when your Demon Bane charm gets put on the box, you all hear in your minds a scream, a horrifying scream of anger and fear and pain.
Yeah. Now, if you stop, we stop.
And I'll remove my Demon Bane charm from the box. I'm holding it.
Should I have rolled an attunement roll for that?
Well, you tell me, what would you hope to accomplish with the attunement? Simply placing a charm on a box doesn't require attunement.
Well, then I'm going to try command again. Okay. I'm going to command him to stop, and I'm going to push myself for an extra 2 stress. And is Braid doing a teamwork action?
Yes, absolutely. I will assist you. Actually, how many attune do you have?
Well, I have 0, and I'm using command now, though.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I will assist with, I guess, an attune. So I will
clarify this for me in the system. Can you teamwork with someone using a different action rating?
So
you're using attune while he's using command?
If assisting is you take 1 stress to give another player +1 die. You might also suffer consequences from the roll. Only 1 person may assist a roll.
Okay. So you don't use an action rating at all. You just take 1 stress.
Okay. Will do.
And can you describe for me what your assistance is while he is trying to command the box?
I am going to. I definitely want to use part of my attune and my compel, where I'm not actually compelling it, but can I exert some sort of psychic pressure, for lack of a better word, back towards the box, just to let them know that,
sure,
like, there is somebody on this boat that, that has some power.
Absolutely. And Buck, roll for me and tell me what you say, please.
So I did 4. So I'm doing 4d6 because I have 2 bubbles, and then I pushed myself for the 2 stress.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then I have a teamwork action.
Yes.
4d6.
Okay.
Yes.
And now, do I have an engagement condition?
Yeah. Your condition is going to be. I'm going to say it's risky because you have established dominance a little bit with the charms and with what Braid is doing. So it's not going to be desperate because of that. So that'll make it risky. The effect, risky standard. It's going to be risky standard.
Okay, and then I'm going to roll 4 and give you the highest number, yeah?
Yes.
It's a 6!
Woo!
Is it only 1 6?
It's 6, 5, 3, 2.
Okay. And what do you say?
I say, you stop, we stop. It's a pact.
There is silence for several seconds, and then you hear, you can't, it's so low pitched that you're not even sure if you heard it with your ears or with your mind this time, but it's just like a rumbling growl, just like, and that's it.
Accept the pact, and then I leave, and then I'll stop.
There's silence.
Okay. Right.
I look at him and I give him a thumbs up, like, that's about as good as you're going to get. And I just wanted to, I think that...
Yeah.
Okay, gotta mark up this little spirit bean charm. Have it.
Yeah. Vein charm.
Okay. Anything else you guys would like to do at this juncture?
Just in case it wasn't clear, I am assuming that we have disguised this box as best we can. Pile up crates around it. I'll
pile up crates around it, throw some netting over it.
Mm-hmm. Classic.
Yeah, you guys know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will replace anything that may have fallen off or gotten dislodged.
Nothing really
and then
did.
Just sort of take a guard position sitting in front of the box with my demon bane charm in my hand.
Yeah, to clarify, the box didn't bang so hard that it was moving. Nothing would have fallen off of it. It's still where you put it.
Okay.
So at this point, you guys have traveled about halfway. Actually, I'll say a little more than halfway to Six Towers. You've decided to take side streets, so I'm going to say you're right where that corner is, south of Brightstone, where that canal running east to west suddenly juts up at a sort of a northeast angle. You guys are right about there at this time, when all of a sudden, let me see, where are you guys placed on the boat? I know, Braid, you said you were sort of sitting by the box, which puts you under the tent. What about Severn, Hell, and Buck? Where are you guys? Someone must be
I'm assuming I'm at least on some level piloting this boat.
Okay.
Whatever you call it when you maneuver a boat with a pole.
Rudder.
Oh yeah.
No, less rudder.
Like a gondola type.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so this is
So you're on the back
smaller
then.
boat.
The stern? You're on the stern. Somebody tell me a boat word. I don't know.
Boat.
Below deck.
Astride. You are astride the boat. Buck, what about you?
Is this electroplasm engine-y boat, or am I rowing the whole time?
I kind of assumed it was manually powered.
Well, that's what I have to do then.
Yeah. Well, I think Severin just described himself as pushing the boat with a pole, so I guess you can just also be doing that, helping each other move the boat along while Braid guards the box.
Well, actually, if I'm free, hold on. The whole time, I'm picking up a crate full of objects, moving them to one side of the boat, putting it down, and then just shuffling cargo as if I'm just doing my job.
Just looking busy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're doing busy work.
Yeah.
You're helping us look normal.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sounds good. So,
And I just automatically move around you, like, every time you go by, I just...
so that being the case, Severin, you look up at this point to the edge of the canal. You are pretty close to the sort of southern edge of the canal that you are in. And you see a man standing there staring at you. His jaw is kind of hanging open a little bit. And behind him, coming out of an alleyway, is a woman and another man. And they're kind of walking with all their eyes fixed on your boat. They just walk up to the edge of the canal. And you pass a little bit further on. You see a couple more people come out of alleyways, staring at your boat. And as you glance around, you notice on the far edge of the canal, the north shore, as it were, there are additional people that are just standing and watching. And there are people around. It's it's a fairly busy canal, but there just seems to be an inordinate number of people just standing slack-jawed, staring at your boat.
They're a little. They seem a little too interested.
I don't know that interested is the word.
They're looking at us.
Transfixed might be the word. Transfixed.
Following our progress.
Yeah.
What is that? Just a second ago. Fine, I don't have that page. Yeah, can I call a flashback then?
Absolutely.
I would like to call a flashback. Just a meal I had been having earlier with my good friend Valeris.
Yeah.
And just they're pretty connected in there. They're running a little higher tier than we do, but over our regular meal together, I'm asking them, hey, I've got this job coming up, and have you heard anything about this, or it's anyone seem interested in anything recently, kind of deal?
Yeah, as a matter of fact. Hold on, let me look something up real quick, and I will reply.
I'm attempting to consort.
Okay. Valeris, yes, a spy. So, you can give me a consort roll. It's going to be, it's early on, but you're not at risk, but it's
kind of risky.
Yeah, it is risky, I think, because it's an odd question, and you're asking it of an odd person. Yeah. The effect, it's going to be risky and standard.
So, real quick question, do I need to take a stress for this flashback?
Yes. Take one stress for this.
Okie doke. So, my consort... Oh! Yay, I got a 6.
Oh, okay.
Nice. Rolling some good rolls tonight.
So Valeris picks up her cup, downs her drink, places it and stares at you for a long time. Says, "So, you're taking a job from the Dimmer sisters, then?"
It would seem so, yeah.
You didn't hear it from me, but word is they've been in communication with a band of arcane tinkers out in the Deathlands. People here in the dusk say nobody can live in the Deathlands except for random bands of convicts and the lost. They wouldn't believe that there's such a thing as an institute out there. But there are people doing work out there. Studies, horrific, arcane, necromantic science, they call it. Has to do with, so they say, demons. A man told me, and I won't say who, a demon is like a man without a soul. And a ghost is like a soul without a man. These people, they're doing experiments that involve both. That's all I know. But if you're carrying cargo from one to the other, it's gonna be cargo that you definitely don't want to open.
Well, old friend, that is good to know. Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, about the money you owe me.
What are you talking about? You said this meal was on you.
Not that, the boat. We're going to cut there. It's fine. All right. So, yes, you learned that information as you continue to watch the people gathering on the shore or on the edges of the canal.
Friends, compatriots, fellow scumbags, don't react, but we're attracting notice. Doesn't look like it's the bluecoats, but I don't like the look of them anyway.
As you say this, one of these people walks off the walkway into the canal. And then more of them start to follow. Not a jump, not a dive. They just walk forward into the water.
Do they swim?
Eventually, when they surface, yes, they swim towards the boat.
No.
Raid, you can go, and then I want to do something, I guess.
Nope,
Yeah?
you go.
I go?
You go first.
Technically, I want to do two things. I'm going to brandish a scary weapon or tool.
Cool.
I'm going to one of those wrenches that I was using in the boiler room.
Okay.
Covered in leaked electroplasm. Just dripping off of it, and it's also dripping with all types of just gross fluid.
Okay.
And I'm going to ask a question and gather information. Who is the most afraid of me?
Raid is. No, realistically, I know you did not mean to include your comrades in that question.
I guarantee you, I am not actually afraid of Buck.
Okay. Buck, actually, that's a very pertinent question. Because what you come to realize as you scan the reactions of all these people is that they have no reaction to you or to anything else. And that is when you realize that these people are hollows. They are the walking dead, essentially. They have no souls in their bodies. They're not capable of fear.
Okay, flashback.
Cool.
When I went into Braid's room, I took her Molotov.
Hey.
Her electroplasmic Molotov?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Okay. And I don't know what this does, because magic, but I smash it on the water, or on the side of the canal. I don't know how wide we're talking of a canal.
It's pretty wide, but you guys are you guys are close enough to the southern edge of the canal that you could throw it and hit the walkway or something. Yeah.
Cool.
So you're just going to throw it at the side and hope to get some of them in whatever it does?
Yeah, and hopefully it's good for us.
Yeah, what kind of roll would you like to do for that?
I'm going to do skirmish, and I'm going to mark off that I have throwing knives as that, I guess, as part of my load.
Okay.
Is that... I guess, yeah, okay, that's just part of my load, yeah? Okay. We'll just call it that. Do you want me to take any stress for that flashback-esque thing?
Yeah, just take one for that. And
okay.
It was pretty cool. And, okay, so you're going to roll skirmish.
Which is 3,
yeah.
Because I have 3 bubbles.
Okay, and we're going to call it, because you have no idea what this will do, and because you're in the water, and because the creatures you are fighting are already dead, we are going to call this desperate.
Sure.
However, you know Braid well enough to know that if this bottle does anything, it is going to have great effect.
Mm-hmm.
It will either do nothing or it will do a lot.
Okay.
Just like Braid.
Yeah.
just to really get all the mechanics out into the air.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take a devil's bargain.
Oh yeah.
Okay. What?
So that pact I took earlier with the devil or the demon, whatever, whoever's in this box.
Sure.
Is going to tell me that this will probably work. And the terms of the pact are ambiguous and up to the game master to distinguish later to bite me.
Okay. Yeah, I'll give you a devil's bargain for this one. The terms of the pact will come up, but this is going to give you a greater chance of success. You can feel almost a supernatural assist as you aim for your throw. Everything comes into focus.
All right, better be big. Oh, that's so sad. 5, 5, 4, 1.
Damn. What a waste. No, it's fine. So, yeah, that's a 5. And it does indeed have great effect. The Molotov that you take, it's actually it's not like a regular Molotov cocktail, which would just be a bottle with a rag stuffed in it. This is not like a beer bottle or something. This is an electroplasmic containment jar that is used in scientific circles to contain electroplasm and spiritual entities and things made of or excreting electroplasm. And it is swirling in there. Normally there's a pale blue or green glow to electroplasm, but this has some red and some orange in it sometimes. You're not you just thought it looked dangerous and that's why you grabbed it. So when you throw it, it hits the edge of the canals. The walkways are made of wooden planks, like a wooden sidewalk, but they're held up underneath by pillars, wooden pillars, kind of like a pier. And you hit one of those pillars with this thing. It explodes in a hail of electric blue fire. It blows that pillar completely out. The sidewalk above begins to sag, and it doesn't collapse because it's attached to other things, but it sags a bit. The few hollows that were right around there catch fire and fall to the ground, burning. Several others that were in the water just near where the thing exploded are completely destroyed. And you have gained 3 ticks on this little clock that I have here for defeating the hollows.
Nice.
Well done. However, a complication from this event is that you have attracted a lot of notice. Everyone in the canal, dead and alive, is now looking at you. Not everyone saw you throw it, but they all saw the explosion, and they can see that you were near the explosion.
I go back to moving crates. And I missed it.
Yep.
Does that qualify as addressing a challenge with violence or coercion?
Yes, it does. Also, it was a desperate roll, so you get XP for that.
Yep.
So we'll tally all that at the end. I'll just put little ticks right here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we tally XP at the end. Yes, that will be easier. Cool. So you have done that. The hollows, there are still several of them that are, the ones coming from the south, the closer edge, are basically either destroyed or now too far in your wake to catch up. But some of the ones coming from the north are still approaching, and they are getting closer to the boat.
I will take that next, unless you want to go, Jason.
Well, I was going to say, Buck, can you please grab a pole and help us get some speed and try and help us propel faster?
All right.
Yes. And while you guys do that, I am going to go ahead. I'm going to face the hollows in the north, and I think it's time to use my special ability to compel a ghost. So I'm going to go ahead. What I would like to do, I want to spot a hollow that is either someone that's like either the closest one to the boat or like the biggest one.
Okay.
Whatever looks like the biggest, fastest.
We'll say it's the same one.
Okay, perfect. What I would like to do is use attune and my special ability to compel. I want to summon a ghost and command it to take over the body of that hollow and then turn around and attack the other hollows that are coming towards it and hold them back from us.
This will be a big ask for some random ghost from the ether.
Mm-hmm.
Especially since free-roaming ghosts are actually not that common inside Duskfall. That's why people live here. Okay. Because, you've got about 2 to 3 days to destroy a body properly before a ghost comes out of it, and that's what the spirit wardens are for. And keeping out the random ones are what the lightning towers are for. So you can do it, but it's going to be a desperate roll.
Okay.
And the effect is going to be standard.
Oh, okay. Okay, and I can take 2 stress to push myself and get a bonus?
You can.
Do I get a bonus for using my special ability, or is that just something that it's just something I can do?
It's just something you can do.
Okay.
Like the other two wouldn't be able to command a ghost in the first place.
Alrighty. Alright, so I'll take my 2 stress, and when you say standard effect, does that mean that it will...
It means if you succeed, you're going to get 2 ticks on this clock instead of 3, which 3 would be great effect, 1 would be limited, and 0 would be no effect.
Okay, that makes sense.
And desperate means you're going to get XP for it, yeah.
Yes, but if I get 3 or below, bad things
it might be serious complications.
Yeah, and 4 or 5 are what's the effect?
4 and 5 is you're going to do it but suffer serious complications, which is what happened to Cody when he threw the thing. The serious complication being everyone's watching you guys now.
Yes.
So that's what desperate is. If the only way to do it is to get a 6. To do it but suffer serious complications is 4 or 5. 1 through 3 you fail.
Alrighty. How threatening are these guys? Like, are our lives in danger? Just to be clear, like they're coming at us, right?
None of them have reached the boat. You do not know what their intentions are.
You know what? I'm gonna hold then, because that's not enough benefit for the cost.
Okay.
I'm going to get up there. This is my plan. As soon as I come out of the tent, and I realize that actually maybe I can hold off. But let me see. And so these guys are pushing faster. What else can I do? Can I use a tune to try to figure out like what is animating these hollows to kind of find the source? Because they're easily controlled. I'm assuming they're, somebody sent them after us. What can I use? Can I gather information? Well, try to find echoes in the ghost field that will tell me who is behind this?
Well, you choose an action rating and tell me what you want to do. So, if you want to do it with a tune, I will say, now that you're aware of the risk of the crate, which interrupted your ability to attune earlier, now that you're aware of it, you're going to be able to, get some distance and attune more specifically to what you are trying to accomplish. So that threat, we'll say, is nullified now that it's no longer unknown. But what exactly do you want to know?
I want to know who sent these things after us.
And how exactly are you going to get that from attuning?
I want to sense the spellcaster or the whisper who animated these things and sent us towards us. I want to try to pick up an echo in the ghost field around who, try to extract a memory or a face or a voice out of these hollows. Okay,
go ahead.
All right.
Are you going to... I have a devil's bargain to offer you.
Yeah.
You can add an extra d6 to that.
Mm-hmm.
If you attempt to do this, if you attempt to use the incredible electroplasmic force coming from this crate to sort of amplify your abilities.
Okay, and with
there is a risk of damaging your mind, as you experienced earlier.
What the hell?
Okay.
Braid does not play it safe. I'll take that devil's bargain.
Okay, then that will be risky, and it's going to have... Yeah, it's going to be risky standard.
Okay. All right, I'll do it.
What'd you get?
A 3, and a 1.
Okay, so that's a 3.
Yep.
So you are going to suffer a complication here.
Okay.
Which is you don't know who sent them.
Yeah.
And what is your complication? Yeah, your complication is you don't know who sent them, and you actually find that you are, by trying to use the power emanating from this crate, you've given yourself a very specific headache, basically. You can no longer direct your senses towards those hollows at all.
Okay.
And keep any kind of focus. You've kind of burned yourself out. You're not unable to attune anymore, but you just can't get anything from the hollows.
Go, Jason.
Yeah, I was gonna say, since I figured out a better way of doing what I wanted to do earlier.
Yeah.
But if you'd be willing to help me, if you'd be willing to assist me in pushing the boat, grabbing a pole, pushing the boat along, and surveying for a course that would take us around the other boats in the canal, but avoid the hollow swimmers that are coming after us, I could use some help in that survey.
I think he's asking Buck. Is that correct?
Who are you asking, Jason?
Buck.
Okay.
Oh.
I'm asking for assistance on a roll.
I was going to try and protect Braid.
Braid's not currently in danger.
And I'm just going to push. I'm going to take the 2 stress to push myself.
Oh, no, I mean, I'll help you, I guess, because, well, I'll help you.
Yeah. I see you coming towards Vita, and I'm like, I'm fine! Help Severin!
Okay, I take 1
I
stress for
just
that.
want an extra pair of eyes on the water just to help us. I'm making a survey roll to find the best path through our current waterborne situation. So I've got 1 die from survey, 1 die from pushing it, and 1 die from assist.
All right.
What's my?
What is your action rating here?
1.
What?
I've got 1 from survey.
Survey. Okay, survey. Gotcha. Okay.
I'm using survey to survey a location or situation to understand what's going on, sense trouble before it happens, gather information about opportunities or exploits.
And your intention is what you're surveying for is a path through the boats.
Yeah, I want to get through this situation.
You want to weave through traffic to put distance between yourself and the undead. Okay.
Yes.
Cool. We will call it. I'm gonna say that this is something that if it works, it's gonna work well because a fast-moving boat is better than a swimmer. So I'm gonna call it risky position. Great effect.
All right. Here goes nothing. So I got a 4, 5, and a 5.
Okay, you do it, but suffer complications. So you get 3 more ticks on this clock. This, by the way, is an 8 clock because you got 3 ticks from the explosion and 3 ticks from this. So you're 2 ticks away from defeating this Hollows challenge here. You and Buck together managed to very easily thrust this boat into furious motion. Furious for a pole-driven boat anyway. And you find your course and you manage to start weaving through the other boats in the canal, putting distance between you and most of these hollows. There are still some coming out of alleys ahead of you. Yeah. But you're now moving so fast that only the ones really a good distance ahead of you have any chance of getting to you, and that only by trying to cut you off. So your weaving path here is definitely helping you get away. The complication at this point is that the explosion followed by the sudden burst of speed has attracted even more attention, this time specifically in the form of bluecoats. There is a bluecoat vessel on the water, and they are now watching you. In fact, they are now following you.
They're not supposed to be hollow in the city.
Hollow?
No, not.
When hollows exist, they are not easy to find. The spirit wardens have this arcane bell system that dings whenever someone dies. And then they have a crow that will fly to the place where the body is. And if they can recover that body within 2 to 3 days of the death, they can take measures to make sure a ghost does not arise. However, a hollow is the opposite of a ghost. A ghost is a spirit with no body. A hollow is a body with no spirit. They are often created by a ghost being somehow, or a spirit being expelled from a living person. And as such, they don't really trigger the bell. And granted, they might attract notice from regular people, but somehow there's just a lot of them here, more than you'd normally see.
Earlier you mentioned 2 type of arcane enforcement, one being the Wardens that just get rid of ghosts, and then one that gets rid of the Hollowed. What was that one?
I don't know what you're talking about. The only sort of arcane law enforcement in the city is the Spirit Wardens.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I must have been misunderstood each other or something. I don't know. Yeah.
Okay.
All good.
I would like to call a flashback.
Do it.
All right. I want a flashback all the way back a few years ago when I was studying with my old tutor, Skurlock. And I remember him teaching me sort of about negative space, the sense of negative space.
Okay.
And sometimes what you can't see is just as important as what you can see. So
Interesting.
Now that these hollows, anytime my attunement goes towards them, they give me this dreadful headache and I can't focus on them. I want to use my attunement and find the path out of this canal that doesn't have any hollows, find like the safe space to get beyond the ambush by finding the places that don't give me a headache when I look down them.
Okay, I'm going to say that particular flashback does not cost any stress because it's so simple. Anyone could easily have thought of it.
That was great.
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
So give me an attunement roll.
All right.
Or I guess, I'm not supposed to call for rolls, but you already said it was attunement, so go ahead.
It's all good. All right. Oh, please let this work. 6!
Yeah!
So Severin and Buck, while you guys are furiously rowing, trying to get away from the hollows, becoming more and more aware that these bluecoats are on your tail, Braid all of a sudden stands straight up and points down a side alley.
Lords of Death down that way.
I give you the middle finger and just like, go!
Yeah, no, we're turning, right? Like,
I feel like I'm actually taking both poles and I'm rowing somehow.
Yeah.
These are
Poles. That's impressive.
I'm
this is
rowing.
not the Pork Chop Express.
I was picturing like the Nordic Express, like one of those ski machines that they used to have in the 90s.
Well, here's the extra good news because of your 6. Not only do you evade the hollows, but your sudden turn onto that alleyway throws off the Blue Coat Pursuit, who does not have time to turn and follow you, and they are now going to lose sight of you because they had to go past.
6. All right.
So it's not a huge question, but did we just turn into Brightstone or Charter Hall?
Oh.
I wanted it to be kind of a vague little alley that wasn't anything that would be on the map. Too small to be on the map. Oh, you're asking about
literally, if we go left, we're in Brightstone.
Yeah.
If we go right, we're in Charter Hall.
Yeah, I wasn't looking at the map, and I thought you were saying street names. Those, you turned into Charter Hall. You turned to right.
Okay. Okie doke.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does that conclude the encounter, or are we still?
Yeah, you guys have with that you have defeated the hollows. You've filled up that clock. And at this point you will now hear from the crate a deep, disturbing telepathic laugh.
Release me.
I drop the Demon Bane charm on the box again, like immediately, like, and pick it up.
I'd like to just knock on the box a couple times. That's not what we're being paid for, sir.
I keep doing the shin, and I'm like, don't be polite.
So, do we want to ditch our boat?
Sign of a gentleman.
For the last leg.
What was the question?
Do we want to ditch our boat for the last leg because...
Do we need to ditch it yet?
Because we can change clothes and ditch our boat because the blue coats were looking at us.
Real quick, Buck, do you want to carry that case?
Also, just point of clarification, it is physically impossible to reach your destination rendezvous without a boat. It is in a subterranean canal. You cannot walk there. You have to take a boat under the streets.
Well, we can't do that then.
Yeah.
Can we actually...
Well, I mean, we could technically hijack someone's cart, because we are in the civic offices, shops, artisans, commerce. We could hijack someone's cart, move the crate onto the cart. Okay, you want down now? Okay. Then one of us could take the boat, or some of us could take the boat, and some of us could take the cart, decide on a rendezvous point.
Yeah.
Just in case.
Would you put the map back up?
What if we did one simpler? What if we just all change clothes and use our... I know this isn't technically how camouflage works, but we can flash back and say it is how it works and redress our boat really quickly.
Well, the camouflage only works if our boat's not moving.
Yeah, only if nobody's on it or using it.
Yeah.
No, our camouflage is working if vehicles are perfectly concealed at rest.
Yep.
But not using the camouflage at all, we can just say that we planned on redressing the boat at some point to make it our boat entirely.
Yeah, I wonder, would this be a group action? Like, we all contribute towards, doing... I like the idea that we have,
well, no, that's
the boat's appearance very quickly.
I like the idea of flipping tarps over so they're green on one side, blue on the other. Making it look just at a glance different. But Yeah, no, that's a good idea.
I don't know. I think if that's going to be a Buck flashback, by all means, take 2 stress and do it.
Yeah. Did we have heat? Did heat come up during that last encounter at all? Because that's.
Oh yeah, good.
I kind of thought
good
it
question.
would.
Yeah.
And this is like to reduce heat almost explicitly.
Yeah. I'll say that because of the extreme visibility that you gained 2 heat in doing this will reduce 1.
Okay, so now we're up to 1. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so we're net 1. I will take 2 stress. It is leading a group action. And yeah, like I imagine I was in like just some basic like labor overalls, and now I'm wearing like striped shirt, some nice cargo pants, a hat, and I'm just singing like I'm in Venice.
You have an unexpectedly lovely singing voice.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was hoping it was like Bismarcky, but you know.
Do you guys have some like empty?
It's nice.
You guys have some like empty crates that you had on the boat before that you can just drop into the water and sink them, so that the boat looks just like it's got a completely different load or something. And maybe take the tarp down altogether, wrap it around your cargo. By the time
all those crates I was just moving in the water, they were filled with bricks.
Yep. By the time those blue coats pull their turn and come around looking for you, you've merged back into traffic. Your boat looks completely different. You've changed clothes. They've no idea. They never saw Braid to begin with, so the fact that there's 3 people on the boat also helps. They miss you. They don't find you. They don't get paid enough to keep looking.
Nice.
And Britt, 1 heat?
Yes.
Okay.
It was 2, but that flashback reduced it.
Okay.
So at this point, you guys have evaded the hollows and the blue coats, so you are able to reach your rendezvous without further incident. You navigate around 6 towers to where you can come into the entry point to the underground tunnels. You pilot your little boat, which now that you're here, you realize, of course, the Foghound would not have fit in this canal. And
wouldn't have fit.
You strongly suspect that this is indeed the reason that your little crew was hired and not their much more well-known group of smugglers. You get through the extremely dark, even darker than outside, subterranean tunnels. It smells like rot and mildew down here. And following a map that you were previously given, you are able to navigate the little routes until you find yourselves next to a stone dock, a platform from which a winding staircase goes up into a wall. And there is a woman standing there to meet you and receive the package. This is...
Well, does she introduce herself?
Yeah. I realize now that I swapped some names around earlier. So we're going to say this is Margette. She is a servant of the Dimmer sisters. She should have been called Rosalind, but I called Margette Rosalind, so this one's Margette. That's what you get for glancing at your notes when you should read your notes.
That's what you know, yeah.
So here's Margette, the servant of the Dimmer sisters. And she looks at all of you and says, "Are you the individuals?"
I hit her with the call sign.
Yes. You're not quite doing that correctly. It's a little bit more like...
I grab the tarp and sweep it off the package. Pointedly.
She is mildly impressed with your showmanship. And she says, "You have done well to deliver the package as requested. Will you please be so kind as to remove it from your vessel and place it here on the platform? The sisters will come and retrieve it after your departure.
Yeah, I do that. And I'm gonna drink the rage essence to see if it makes me strong enough to do it.
It does, and it makes all the veins pop out. Like, actually, your shirt rips, and then your eyes get a little bit bloodshot, like, and they're almost glowing in this dim light. But you are able to just reach down with your hand. You don't even have to get your arms under it. You just reach down with your hands, grab it by its two ends, and just slam it down onto the dock. Yep. She raises an eyebrow at you and says, "Those vials don't come cheap. Surely it would have saved money to simply have the other gentleman help you."
I can help too.
Yes, dear.
I didn't mention this at the beginning of the game. I forgot to describe my character, but Braid is probably about 110 pounds soaking wet. Very tight.
I don't know if you said that, but I did intuit that this was a small person. Yes.
Yeah. I don't know that someone's speaking to me. There's so much blood pumping through my body. You know, your ears, like, adrenaline's pumping. Your ears start to ring. You can't hear anything.
Yeah,
I'm just staring dilated at her.
If we were seeing Buck's POV in a movie, it would all be red tinted and vibrating.
Yes.
And I'm going to mutter to Severin under my breath, "Ask about the money. Get the money."
Yeah, so our payment?
She waves a hand towards a box that has already been placed on the dock off to the side of where she's standing. She says, "You have performed admirably. We heard of a disturbance in some of the canals earlier, but it seems that no one has identified who was involved. In fact, our own spies could not discover who was involved. This pleases us."
I am going to grab the box, just grateful I can finally lift something on this mission, and go ahead and kind of back up with it.
Okay. But it's you can lift it, but not as easily as you expected to be able to.
There.
3 coin is a lot of money.
Oh yeah. No,
the earlier box with 5 coin, you could not have done.
No.
This one you can.
I'm just making a point.
Yeah, and you totally look like it's not heavy. All right, you guys have completed your score.
Yay. Money.
I am going to give you +1 status with the Dimmer Sisters.
There we go. Yeah, well, you gotta comb your butt.
Whose butt? What?
Yep.
All right.
All right.
Hooray.
All right. So you guys are able to return to your lair, and let's move into downtime actions.
Okay. Do we add up our XP at this point, or?
We can do that at the end of the session, because you may want to use downtime to reduce stress or to heal any injuries. I don't think anyone got any injuries. You were going to, but you didn't.
Yep.
Yeah. So, what do you guys want to do with your downtime?
Well, we just got our payoff.
Yes.
So we've got our rep just went up by 2.
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to meet with Salia for my vice.
Okay. Remind me what your vice is. I don't have your sheet right
My
now.
vice is weird.
Okay, we also, well, real quick, we also need to check for our entanglements because we do have one heat.
Yeah, you do.
Good.
So 0 to 3. Does anyone mind if I roll this?
Go
You
ahead.
do it.
Go for it.
All right. Fuck off. Oh, no, that's good. We just got cooperation. A +3 status faction asks you for a favor. Agree to do it or forfeit 1 rep per tier of the friendly faction or lose 1 status with them. If you don't have +3 faction status, you avoid entanglement right now.
Well, that's the one then. You don't have any +3s,
Nope.
so you
Cool.
will avoid entanglement.
Then, after a score or conflict with an opponent, the crew takes heat. Okay, yeah, no, that's... Oh, that's... Okay, 2, 3... Okay, so I think we take the heat after the score. Then we do entanglement, then downtime. So we get 2 downtime activities each.
Yep. So who wants to downtime first?
Cody's already starting.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, go for it.
Okay, I'm gonna actually find the hooded proprietor of a half-flooded grotto tavern near the docks. Strange passageway leads to stranger chambers beyond. Oh wait, no, that's wrong. I do want Salia.
Okay.
A spirit reconciled which moves from body to body within their whim. And I am gonna ask her to possess me for a small period of time to see if I react like that experiment that Severn was talking about, how they were like putting ghosts in the hollow to see what was happening, to see if that is what happened to me.
If Buck misunderstood, I think that's a cool way to play it. But if Cody misunderstood, I want to let you know it was not hollows. It was not ghosts and hollows. It was ghosts and demons.
It doesn't matter to Buck.
Okay.
I've got a quick question.
Yeah.
Which downtime activity are you doing?
The one that relieves stress, I guess, vice.
Are you indulging vice?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's correct.
so that's the one I need to do. Yeah.
That's how you reduce stress. Yeah.
Acquire assets, work on long-term projects. You can recover, reduce heat, train, and indulge vice.
Yeah, I definitely need to indulge vice because I am 2 from trauma.
Okay.
My camera will not refocus on me. I don't know what to do about that.
I was just noticing that. Well, don't worry about it right now. People know what you look like by this point in the stream.
Okay.
So she does possess you, as you requested, for a small fee. And you feel a tingling that passes into your body. And then you kind of lose track. And then you feel this tingling again as it passes out. And you realize that a good 3 hours have passed. And you don't remember any of it. You're in a completely different place than you were before. Like, you were at her place, and now you're, like, in a tavern somewhere. And this other body that she has taken sits down across from you. It says, well,
Well,
what was
do
it
you
like?
have any? I was looking for answers, not anything perverse that you were talking about.
Perverse? You asked me to possess you so you could see how you reacted.
Well, maybe next time. And I leave, I guess, a coin?
I think, yeah, you paid her maybe at the beginning. I don't know.
I don't know how I pay a ghost, but...
She already took the coin. Maybe she left herself the coin while she was possessing you.
Yeah.
She tells you as much when pushing back the second coin. No, not an entire coin, but yeah, just a little bit of money. Not enough to make any real dent in the crew's finances.
Okay, does that count as expressing my background?
Yeah, I think it does a little bit. Yeah, I'm going to say it does, because you kind of don't have a background. You woke up in a pile of dead bodies, and yeah, it makes sense that you would be interested in what a hollow is and whether you are one.
Yeah. Okay. I'll try not to game that too much. It's not the biggest deal in the world.
Yeah.
And then I guess I train for the... Actually, how much stress do I lose from that?
How much do you have?
Well, so when you indulge vice, you visit a purveyor of your vice and roll dice equal to your lowest attribute. So you roll dice equal to the lowest of insight, prowess, or resolve. Clear stress equal to your highest die result. If you clear more stress levels than you have marked, you overindulge. If you cannot indulge your vice during downtime, you take stress. If you do not or cannot indulge your vice during downtime, you take stress equal to your trauma.
Okay. So what's your lowest attribute?
I have 0 insight.
You have none of those skills?
Yeah, I didn't want them.
Okay,
just
well...
1 dice, Steve?
Yeah, if it's 0, I think you take 2 dice and go with the lowest.
Yeah.
Okay, and okay. 2.
Okay.
And then I could do this back to back.
Oh yeah,
because I can indulge vice twice technically. Because otherwise.
Yeah. So your second vice, are you going to do the same thing again, or do you want to do some other weird thing?
We can just say we did it twice. I don't know. Just who knows?
Sure. Try again the next day. Yeah.
Yeah. Or it just happened for as long as all of the downtime would have been down. So maybe I'm gone for actually a week.
Yeah. Right.
By the way, we haven't really talked about cost, because usually vice indulgement involves cost, but I don't...
Well, so here's the thing about cost. For any downtime roll, add +1 die if you get help from a friend or contact. After the roll, you may increase the result level by 1 for each coin spent by hiring assistance, paying a bribe, etc. So a 1 to 3 result becomes a 4 to 5. 4 to 5 becomes 6.
Right.
6 becomes critical. You can also indulge in additional activities by spending 1 coin or 1 rep for each.
Yeah. Now, if you don't
have a lot of coin or rep right now, so
yeah, the whole crew has, I think, 4 coin right now.
Yes.
Counting.
So I just took it at its minimal value then.
Yeah.
So it's just raw roll. So I got -5 total for both rolls. So
great. Okay. Yeah. So to clarify for the viewers, a coin is an abstract unit of money in this game. The crew only having 4 coin doesn't mean they literally only have 4 coins in their pocket. A coin is about a week's worth of pay for a working person in this game. So, just ordering dinner or something is not going to cost a coin. It's going to be a minuscule amount of money compared to the abstraction of what a coin is. So we wouldn't track that really. But spending an extra coin to hire someone to help you, like Jason was just talking about, that would be, at this point in the crew's career, prohibitively expensive.
Okay.
Okay, so who wants to go into their downtime actions next?
I know what I want to do, if you don't mind.
Go for it.
Well, I'm going to take, let me see, I want to start a long-term project. Now that we have a little bit of coin and a little bit of time,
Okay.
I want to figure out a way that we can add basically like a small motor. I want to design and build a little motor on the bottom of our little boat.
Okay.
Something that we can kind of turn on and use for a speedier getaway.
All right.
So that way, we can still have that quick action, but it won't take both the boys to make it work. It just takes one person to continue to activate it and steer it.
All right. Okay, you may do that.
All right. Is that a long-term project that needs a clock, or is that simple enough that I can do it in a single downtime?
No, I'm going to say it takes more than one downtime to do that. We'll call it a 4 o'clock.
Okay. All right, so I will use my tinkering ability on this one.
Okay.
That's a 4.
Okay, mark 2 segments.
All right.
Nice.
And as I am doing that, though, I just can't stop thinking about embarrassing myself in front of the foghounds, and then the backlash I got from those stupid hollows trying to use the demon energy inside, and I should have known better, and I'm just stressing until I just get up and storm out and head to the nearest tavern for a little stress relief.
All right. So yeah, like Cody did, roll your lowest attribute.
My lowest is actually prowess, and I have 1 in that. So
Okay.
I'm gonna go ahead and roll 1, and that's 2. So I remove 2 stress.
Remove 2 stress, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
All right. Severin, what you got?
So, this was a really we did good this time. We had a good score. We made some coin. I'm feeling good about this. So Severin is in fact going to indulge his vice. He is headed to the Dunridge and Sons Fine Fabrics and Tailoring and Night Market.
Nice.
He's going clothes shopping.
Yeah, he is.
Clothes. So that is my indulging vice.
And their crew is broke. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
If I could.
Yeah.
My lowest attribute is literally all of them. They are all at 2.
Okay.
Yeah, of course it's a fucking 5. Fuck you. So I've overindulged.
Oh, no.
So she may be bad. Sorry. My eyes have been going over the last couple months. And yeah. So overindulge.
So yeah, select an overindulgence.
So if I overindulge, do I still lose the stress that I had?
I don't see anything saying that you don't, so yeah.
You're
Yeah, you do
stress-free
lose the
until
stress.
the entanglement, or
659.
yeah, it's page 156.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. It doesn't say that you don't lose the stress, so you still lose the stress.
Mm-hmm.
But you must choose a result for your overindulgence.
Okay. Well, I
Attract trouble.
yeah. No, I think I've got a call here. And just let me do a quick bit of erasing. Should have stressed myself out a little more. Well, you know, I think I've probably put on a bit too long a credit line at this place, and they have cut me off.
Yeah. You're going to have to find a new place to buy clothes.
Yeah, I'm going to find a new source for my vice. I'll figure it out, but this really sucks because they made the best damn kilts. So cool. That happened. My second downtime action is going to be to train.
Okay.
So normally that'd be mark 1 XP in an attribute or my playbook, but I'm going to mark XP in prowess, and because we're smugglers, I get to mark 2 XP.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's like you fill up these bars and then you get new fill up
yes.
points, right?
So basically, having overindulged in that, I start to, the stress of life starts to get to me, and, I start worrying about how we were, like, almost ambushed by these, like literal, like, undead. I mean, come on. They're soulless husks of people, and they almost got the drop on us. So I'm actually spending a lot of time, like, just doing rooftop runs, like, just trying to, like, prowl around better, get a better view of everything better.
Okay.
And that's how I'm training.
All right, sounds good. Well, you guys have completed a job. You've earned 3 coin. You've done your downtime. Mm-hmm. And that's where we're going to call it for this week.
Well, real quick, do you want to call it now, or do you want to do XP and then call it?
Well, you guys have been tracking your XP, right? So what do we need to do to resolve that?
So there is, like, at the end of each session, for each item below, mark 1 XP in your playbook or an attribute, or 2 XP if the item occurred multiple times. And that's going to be on your playbook, kind of at the bottom of that shaded area.
Yeah. See, I thought everyone was tracking it as it went, because I think everyone did at least one desperate roll, right?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't.
You did.
My rolls were all risky.
Okay.
But I didn't really struggle with issues from my vice. I need to express my beliefs, drives, heritage, and background more. And, I mean, I didn't really address challenges with tracking or violence.
Didn't you track that, like, route thing?
Yeah.
I mean, I surveyed it, so, I mean, if that counts, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I say that counts. Okay.
I'm going to go for some playbook XP here.
Oh, or an attribute. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This is all going into prowess then. We're about to get level 3, right?
Like, doing this just lets us all kind of, like, talk about what we've done at the end of the session.
Yeah.
Cool. But that's all she wrote. Cool.
Yeah.
Also, for each item below, we executed a successful smuggling or acquire new clients or contraband sources. We successfully smuggled, right?
Yeah.
We were
cool.
Very successful. And we've acquired at least 1 new client, and possibly 2, depending on how the Foghounds feel about us.
Well, I don't think smugglers hire smugglers very often, but...
Did we contend with a challenge above our current station?
No, not really.
Yeah, that was...
Okay.
I should have fought Bear. It would have counted.
If you'd opened the crate, then we could talk.
Yeah. Then party wipe TPK.
Did we really bolster our crew's reputation or develop a new one?
You bolstered it. I mean, you bolstered it with one faction. You know, the Dimmer sisters like you.
Well, explicitly, it's a XP mark if we have bolstered our reputation or developed a new one.
No, I'm going to say no. You bolstered your status with a faction, but not your overall reputation.
Okay. And did we express the goals, drives, inner conflict, or essential nature of the crew?
Yeah, I threw a bomb, and it was very daring.
You know what? I'm going to say I think...
High-speed chase through a canal.
I think all three of you did character-defining things. So, yes, I'm going to say yes to that one.
Okay, so we got a couple XP marked on our crew sheet.
Yeah, this is episode 1 of a TV show, and we got to see what all of you are about. So, yeah.
Yeah.
There's still information to be gathered because it's only episode 1, but yeah.
All right.
Okay.
3-part miniseries. See everyone next week.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Great work, guys. I like this game.
Yes.
I don't totally understand all the rules, but that's to be expected.
You weren't supposed to say that on stream. We gotta cut the clip.
No, I've already said it like 8 times, so it's okay.
No, honestly, this is a game that kind of like it helps to have a few people looking over, like a Venn diagram of people with eyes on the rules.
Well, we've done a couple of the one-pagers that Sarah ran, Honey Heist, and of course last time Beautiful Space Pirates. And those have no rules confusion.
Those are like one page.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of moving parts.
Yep. Yeah.
Blades in the Dark has a lot of moving parts that you're not you don't see right away.
Yeah, that holding up the book to show how big it is. It's no D&D, but it's definitely more complex than a one-pager.
No, but the rules fit together different than D&D.
Yeah.
Right, but I mean in terms of complexity.
Yeah. I like that the expectation is that we cheated the system.
Yeah. It's like the baseline of the game is that you cheated the system. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally didn't grab that Molotov, but I did.
Well, yeah.
I like the flashback mechanic, and the Honey Heist game also has that. So I had seen that before. Maybe they got it from Blades in the Dark or a similar system. I know that there's a whole lineage of games that this comes from, but I like the flashback thing. I got us out of our Honey Heist using a well-timed flashback, and it was a lot of fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to more of this.
Same. This is a lot of fun.
Yes. Thank you, guys. And we'll see you next week. This is our 3rd episode of Tales from the Backlog, but our first of 3 for Blades in the Dark. This is our first game that is going to span more than one session. So we will see how the crew fares in their next score or 2 next Monday.
Yeah.
Maybe even 3 if we do it fast.
Depends.
With a lot of hustle.
All right. We'll see you guys then. Thanks for watching. Thanks for playing.